What you see over there are stones ordered by the masons, ordered by those that work on the road to finish the road. See the blocks over here? Why am I showing you this? By the way, this road is shut down, that's why I can walk around here. Why am I showing you all of this? I want you to be inspired. These men, they know they need to make exact calculations, because if they order too many of these blocks, it will be costly, and someone has to pay the check. During one of the Chinese dynasties, they had to build some military posts around the Chinese wall, and they also had to make reparations on the Chinese wall. And the Chinese ministers told the architect who was appointed to the job, if there is a miscalculation, heads are going to roll. So he knew that his life and life of his relatives were endangered unless he did his job well. He, together with some masons and mathematicians, they made calculations, and the calculations worked. They had one stone too much, and they placed it on top of the wall as a monument. Now that guy, that Chinese architect, he worked under pressure. He was terrified for his life, and terrified for the safety of his relatives also. But that motivated him to do the job well. No, am I telling you to be motivated by fear? Absolutely not. Just remember that as a believer, you are as a builder. And no builder just begins to build somewhere. First, the builder wants to have a permit from the local authorities, if the local authorities are around. Secondly, the builder wants to know if the soil is a match for the project. If it's a swamp, the builder will say, no, I'm not going to build over here because I don't want my building to sink here. Or if it's at the beach, the builder may think, no, it's not the proper location for a bathhouse. So I'll do it more where there are water springs, because there's much more fresh water over there. So he looks at the condition of the soil, he checks the materials, how much it costs, he checks the workers, because you need people to comply with the project, but he also looks at the bigger picture. How will this project affect the community? And will the community retaliate against this project or not? If you have someone who's rich, not a millionaire, but he has a lot of cash, and he comes into a neighborhood and he builds his enormous villa over there, it can be that in less than 3 years, that individual is robbed and killed in his own villa, because people around there don't want to be confronted with this abundance, because he has spending capacity they can't control, and that frustrates them. And common people in general can't handle frustration well. They will lose it and seek for someone to dump it upon. So let's say you are hired, you are an architect and you're hired to build a villa for someone. But then you realize, hold on a minute, if I take this job and construct this villa, the people that will live in this villa will be dead very soon, because I sense negative energy. So you may be responsible by saying to the one that hires you, sir, are you sure you want this? Because you'll get some trouble when you complete this, when this is completed. There are times architects may even say, no, I'm not taking this job, I'm not taking this project, because once the project is finished and later there's harm and unrest related to the project, the name of the architect will be mentioned, because he's the one that completed it. So builders also look at the bigger picture, look at the context. They're careful whom they work for, because let's say an architect, for example, takes a job and the job is financed by a drug lord, then he will be associated with the drug lord, and he will be associated with that cartel also. So you have to look at the bigger picture also. The reason I'm telling you this is because as a believer, you're also a builder. I told you that before. You follow Christ, who was a carpenter during his earthly life as a human being, or better said, he was a craftsman. He knew how to design buildings, and furniture and also how to build them, Christ had a job. It wasn't a 9-to-5 job, it's more as he moved to Capernaum in his 20s, where he kind of offered his crafts and people paid him for it. It was more like a kind of freelance thing he was doing, but he had a job, he earned some money, he had his own apartment. Christ worked. Yes, he did. He didn't do it for long because he had to do his ministry on our behalf. But what I want to show you is, you follow a carpenter, you follow a craftsman, you follow an entrepreneur who is Christ. And he is practical. Be as practical as he is. Look at the context before you initiate a project. I don't tell you not to initiate a project, but look at the context. Look at the bigger picture. And if you want to initiate it despite resistance, because you will get resistance anyway, make sure you anticipate the resistance that will come. Why do you think that some corporations produce their products in another country? And why do you think they often send their own workers from their native country to those foreign lands? Here's why. If you have let's say a maybe Vietnamese is not a good example. You have a Chinese corporation, and they have a factory in Poland. They send Chinese folks from China to Poland to work for them because it's the same culture, they understand one another. And not only that, because it's their own folks and they depend on their visa to stay there, those Chinese workers know if we get out of hand, if we do something stupid, we'll be deported to China and we'll end up in jail. The people in Poland can't help us, they don't even speak the language. So then the corporation has more security that nobody will rob them. If they hire Polish people over there, and it's a Chinese corporation, you have a Polish manager, they don't have, and those Polish folks don't have any emotional tie to the Chinese, nor to their culture. So if they see there's a lot of profit, some may think, you know what, I'm going to rob this business, I'm going to scam this business. If the Chinese corporation would conduct its business in China itself, they would face the envy and jealousy of other Chinese folks. So they put one in Poland, they sent low-wage workers over there to work for them, and those low-wage workers, they earn money in euros, which is a lot in China, so there's a benefit for the workers also. So that this Chinese corporation, they look at the big picture and realize if we put a factory in Poland, in the EU, it will benefit us more. It may cost us more in the beginning, and those who work at the factory, they will benefit also. So that will be far more stable than to do it in Shanghai, where you have too much competition. So they had their project, they executed it, but they looked at the bigger picture. I'm telling you, look at the bigger picture, okay? Because just like the example I gave of that Chinese architect who had to design those military posts, but he was under threat. If you miscalculate something, big trouble. In the world, often works like this. When things go wrong, people are frustrated, want to dump the frustration. And if your name is associated with what they're frustrated about, then you can become the target. Yes. I mean, telling you to be afraid and not be involved in anything. No, I'm just telling you to anticipate potential assaults, potential revenge against you. There will be war, there will be tensions until Christ returns. Till that time, you ought to walk by faith to overcome and overrule violence. That's how it's going to be. Stop looking at the heavens, thinking you have to die and go to heaven. No, you're then to glorify Christ on the earth in your body, in the here and now. So look at the bigger picture. Be at peace.